Hey everyone, today I am doing a tutorial on how to create a herringbone pattern in Adobe Illustrator. We're going to create two different herringbone patterns. I'm going to create a graphic one, as you can see on the left here, and then I'm going to show you how to turn some painted strokes into this really organic looking sort of watercolor look herringbone pattern. So let's jump straight in now and get going. Okay, to start, I'm just going to create a new file. This can be any size. I'm just going to go with a 12 by 12 inch RGB, but it really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to get rid of my colors here. So I'm just going to select the top red one and the bottom purple one here and then hit delete. And then I'm just going to bring in some of my favorite colors. Just because I prefer to use my colours and not the default ones, but you can just use the default ones if you like. Next, you're going to use the rectangle tool and just draw a rectangle. This could be any size, and I'm going to give it a colour of pink, and I am going to remove the stroke. And then I'm going to click and hold down the Option key to drag it across to duplicate it. And then I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and then just pop it up the top. Now you want to make sure that you have got the smart guides on, because that will then allow you to align it exactly to the edge there. And if you're unsure if it's aligned properly, you can go to View and then Outline. So now you can see it isn't aligned properly, and I can just grab it and snap it back to the place it belongs. So now it is in line, and then I want to drag this one down. So I'm going to hold the Shift key so it goes straight down, and then it doesn't matter what gap you have in between, but I'm just going to leave it so there's a little bit of a gap there. And I might turn back on the preview so you can see that better. And then I'm going to duplicate this bottom one and drag it across till it's aligned with the edge of this one, and then holding down the Shift, I'm going to drag it up till I get that indicator there that is showing it's the same gap as the bottom one. So it says 0.2083 inches on each gap, and then leave that there. And then I'm going to grab them all, and then if I hold my mouse on the corner there, I can click, and if I hold down the Shift, I can rotate it once to get it to 45 degrees. And I might just move that into the middle a bit. Now I want to duplicate this, so I'm going to hold down the Option key, and you can see it gives you a double mouse pointer there. Then if I click and drag and hold down the Shift, I can drag it, and you want to get that intersect line. That will align it nicely with the other gaps that you have. And then if you hit Command D, you'll get another one below that. So now we've got 3 instances of that pattern. The next thing I want to do is pull out the repeat. So for this, I'm going to turn on my rulers. So I'm going to go to View and then Rulers and then Show Rulers. And then I'm going to click on this middle one here on the left, click on the ruler and then drag it out until it snaps to that middle area there. And then I'm going to do the same with this middle one here and drag another one out until it snaps to that middle point. And then keep that one selected and do the same from the top. And this one has to go down to that middle there as well. Make sure you get that pink line. And then click the one below it and then do another one to that middle point there. So this area here is our repeat. So what I'm going to do now is grab that rectangle tool again, and then if I click and drag, make sure you get that intersect there and just drag it out. It should snap into that area, and then we can give that a fill color. And I want that one now to go to the back, so I'm going to hit Command plus Shift plus left square bracket, and that will pop it to the back. And if I go into my layers panel here, you can see it's right at the back there. Now I'm going to duplicate this, so I'm just going to drag it down to the plus, and then I'm going to do that again. So we've got 3 copies of that rectangle. So now we've got the 3 rectangles there. Now I want to actually now take it off the artboard. So I'm going to select it all and just drag it away from the artboard. And we can also remove or hide the guides. So I've got 4 guides here, so I'm just going to select them all by selecting the bottom one, holding down Shift and selecting the top one. I'm going to hit Command G to group them, and then toggle the eye off to hide them. And now I just want to select the bottom rectangle and go to Object, Artboards, Convert to Artboard, and that will create an artboard of just the repeat of that herringbone pattern. The second one, I want to create a bounding box. Now a bounding box is going to help you create that repeat when you drag it onto the swatches panel. So a bounding box is shouldn't have a fill or a stroke, so we'll turn that fill off. And then the third rectangle that we made, that can be your background color, and you could change that to a different color if you wanted to. So I might go with that red. So now I should be able to select it all and drag it on my swatches panel here, and then let's draw out a rectangle and select the pattern. And there is our herringbone pattern, and that is repeating really well. So that's a really simple way to create a basic herringbone pattern in Adobe Illustrator. Next, I'm going to show you how to create one from painted media. So I'm going to paint some strokes on some paper, bring that into Illustrator, and then convert that into a herringbone pattern, much like this one. So I'm just painting some stripes with some gouache paint. I want it to have a little bit of texture, so I'm keeping my brush a little bit dry so I can get those lovely paint streaks. I'm going to do maybe 4 or 5 of these and try and keep them about the same length, and then I'm going to take them into Illustrator and create a herringbone pattern from them. So I've just dropped in my paint strokes. I scanned them in on my scanner printer at 600 dpi and then just pulled them in here to my document. The first thing I need to do is image trace them, so I want to vectorize them so I can then manipulate them. So over in the toolbar here I've got image trace. If you can't see it, just go to Window and then go to image trace and then make sure that's on. I want to select high fidelity color and just wait as that goes through its motions, and then that looks okay. You can also modify the amount of colors you have in there, but I'm quite happy with that, so I'm just going to leave it as is and then hit expand. And so now it's all grouped together. I'm going to right click and ungroup it. Sometimes you need to do that twice, but no I don't. And then I am just going to remove that white from the background, and then I'm going to grab each one and then Command G to group it and just pull it off to the side, and then just do that for each of those. There is some white left on there. You can ignore that when you image trace them, but I'm going to have a white background anyway, so I'm not too worried about that at the moment. So now we've got our individual. I'm just going to select there just in case there's something I've left behind, but there isn't. So I'm going to grab one of these. Actually, I'm just going to grab them all and reduce the size a bit. I want to make sure they're all about the same length. Some of them are a bit longer, so I might just grab them all and have a look. I think this one can go in a bit. This one maybe. Just so that they are pretty similar in length. That looks okay. So I'm going to just reduce the size of all of them a little bit, holding down the shift key so that they hold their dimensions. Okay, so I'm just going to drag this one up and I'm going to rotate this one 45 degrees. You're going to notice I'm doing this one a lot different than the other one. I want it to all look quite organic and just randomly painted, so not so neat and tidy as this graphic looking one here. So this one here I want to rotate 45 degrees this way, and then I'm just going to place it in here, and then let's grab another one and do the same, and then just move them up. So you can see I'm just eyeballing it here. If you want, you can put on the rulers. So I'm going to go to View, Rulers, Show Rulers, and just drag one out. So that way I can visualize the edge on there and make sure they're relatively closely aligned. So let's do another one. And I'll have to take one of these. So I'm just holding down the Option key, clicking and dragging to copy, and then I'll angle that one out that way. And we might copy this one down, so we've got 4, and I might swap these around. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to get rid of that. I might delete that guide, I don't need it. Okay, so we've got the basic shape here, and this time we're actually going to use the pattern tool in Illustrator. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go up to Object. I'm actually going to turn on hide the artboards just to make it a little bit easier to see everything, and then go to Object, Pattern, Make. Okay, and now I am going to click on this button here, which is Pattern Tile Tool, and that will allow me to drag this little icon down, and it will pull the pattern down to fit, just like that. And we may want to bring in the side a bit, so I'm just going to bring that in slightly, and that's looking pretty good. And if we wanted to, we can actually come in here and just move them slightly to fit better. So there's a bit of a gap here that I kind of feel like it needs to change a little bit. And then when you are happy with it, you just need to hit on Done. And then let's turn on those artboards again. So go down to View and then Show Artboards. And then I'm just going to zoom out a bit. And I'm going to grab that from the swatches now and drag it back on. And this is our pattern ribbon, and select that layer and then drag it down to copy it. And then I'll do another copy, so we've got 3. And then select the bottom one, go to Object, Artboards, Convert to Artboards, and then the leave that one there. That's going to be our bounding box, and then the next one above there, the third one, can be your background. So I'm just going to add a little bit of a background there. I can drag that back to the swatches panel, so now it has a background, and then let's go test it out. So I'm just going to grab a rectangle and let's draw out an area here and then fill it with that pattern, and there we go. There is a herringbone pattern. It looks a little bit like watercolour. Well, it's actually gouache, but it's watered down. And another thing that you can do is actually create another colourway with that. So maybe you want it to have an indigo blue type colour. So I'm going to copy this, but first I'm just going to create a, I'm going to clip it so that it's not overhanging. So I'm duplicating that background layer, and then I'm going to drag that to the top. And then you need to select the background layer, not the bounding box, and then hold down Shift and then click the top layer, and that will select everything in that group except for the bounding box, and then right click it and then make clipping mask. So that just clips it all and makes it look all nice and neat. It's not absolutely necessary, but it makes it easier to copy the artboard. So now I want to copy this whole artboard. And so I'm going to go to the artboards layer here. So that's the third artboard. I'm going to make a copy of that by dragging it to the plus. And it's just put it up there. I might move it across. I can move it by clicking on the artboard icon and just clicking and dragging it. So with this one, I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to go up to the recolor artwork icon. And let's just move that over here. And this time I'm just going to click and drag one of these and drag it around to the blue, sort of purpley blue. Maybe I want it a little bit bluer, and that looks pretty nice. So then if I click out of there, and let's drag this onto the swatches panel, and then click on our test rectangle here, and then select the new color. So we've now got, let me put that one there. Now to reset that, I just need to click on it again, and then click and drag with the Option key held down, and we'll change that one to the original color. So we've got two colorways here created. So that's a really easy way to create a really organic looking herringbone pattern using paint brush strokes that you can scan in and vectorize. I hope that was really useful. Leave some comments below if you have any questions or if you get stuck along the way, and hopefully I can help you out. And if you're keen to try out some other pattern designs, check out this playlist here with a range of tutorials for Procreate, Illustrator and Photoshop.